Diogenes in a Barrel of Fun. Story and paintings by T. White. Diogenes was a great philosopher in ancient Greece, a wise man who lived in a barrel. He had no worldly possessions. Alexander the Great once said, "If I could not be myself, then I would want to be Diogenes." On a cold October day, I met Diogenes in a barrel. He was a frightened little dog with a big scar across his nose. He was living in a dump, and his home was a barrel. The last thing I needed was a dog, so when he started to dance with a little stick, it was hard to walk away from him, but I did. But as fate would have it, the little guy haunted me, so in the dead of night I went back for him. This is his story, a dump dog, a throwaway, a little dog with a heart of gold. It was a gray day, cold and black with the winter wind howling through the dump. The lonely boy was sad, for his dog, that little angel, had passed away. His grandpa was so sad that he told the boy, "It hurts too much, so it's best we don't have another dog." As the boy walked along the riverbank, he spotted a small little ball curled up all alone in a barrel. Slowly the boy crept closer, and the big eyes stared at him with delight. As the creature slowly looked up, it revealed a scarred and damaged head. Truly it was a dog, but the boy was frightened, so he ran home to Gramps. The boy stumbled into the toasty cabin as the clouds were rumbling like Thor's hammer. "Gramps, I found a dog living in a barrel by the dump. I think he needs help. Come on, let's go," said the boy. Gramps hesitated, but the boy's courage drove them on. As they grew near, the little dog slowly stood up, trembling, and walked out of his barrel. He was a funny little dog with 5 or 6 scars on his face, not to mention a piece of ear missing. His ribs were showing, but he had the most amazing temperament, for his eyes lit up to perform, even though his life had taken a turn for the worst. Seeing that Gramps and the boy were being friendly, the little dog picked up a small branch and began to prance. My, the two were impressed as he marched around in a circle. Poor Gramps thought, "What to do? This little dog is homeless, but the last thing I need is a dog." But his grandson was beaming with delight, and the crazy little dog was dancing on his hind legs as if he was in a circus. Gramps had no choice, so they walked away from the barrel, down the path back to their cabin, and left the poor little dog in his barrel. The night was getting cold, the wind swirled around the small cabin, and Gramps reached for another log to put on the fire. "Good night," he said to his grandson, but he knew in his heart that the boy was sad that the little dog was still living in the barrel. A dog from nowhere, who knows what mischief the little bugger had been in, thought Gramps. As he sat down by the fire, he grabbed a funny little book about the philosopher Diogenes. The great wise man sought the truth and went around ancient Greece carrying a lantern, seeking an honest man. He was so famous that the emperor, Alexander the Great, wished for him to be at his coronation. When Diogenes didn't show up, Alexander marched down to his house, which was a barrel. Standing in front of the barrel, the great emperor demanded to know why he did not come to his coronation. Diogenes looked up from his barrel and said, "Move over, please, you're blocking the sun." Haunted by the little dog in the barrel, Gramps put the book down. He had only been thinking about himself. What about his grandson and the lonely dog? He grabbed a lantern and braved the stormy night. As he neared the dump, the lantern exposed the dark shadows of tons of junk surrounding the little barrel. The dog's ears pointed straight up as he heard footsteps coming towards him. Then a hand reached out from the dark, beckoning him to come and join the human race. As they struggled through the stormy night, the dog's sad eyes started to twinkle, knowing that somebody cared for his little soul. Then, in the dark, they heard a voice calling for them, as a warm light shined through the stormy night. It was the boy. He had wakened from a scary nightmare. The little dog ran like the wind, for he was, without a doubt, the greatest running dog alive. Poor Gramps was left in the dust. By the time Gramps caught up to the dog, his grandson was jumping up and down as he watched the dog do a big jig. "Gramps, what should we name this little dog?" asked the boy. Gramps yelled out, "Why, of course, Diogenes will be his name." Life was quite grand now, and Gramps said, "Let's go into town." So off they went, through the woods, to the little town by the side of the Blue Mountains. As they walked down the street, they noticed how sad the poor little town was. But it didn't take long for them to notice Diogenes, for he was quite the amazing dog. As the boy played the flute, that crazy dog stood on his head and did the Diogenes jig. The children of the town couldn't believe their eyes. "Amazing! Stupendous! Wonderful!" yelled the crowd as they clapped with glee. Gramps watched with amazement and couldn't help but remember that just a day ago, the poor dog was living in the dump. It just goes to show you what can happen with a little bit of kindness. As the philosopher Epicurus once said, "The greatest virtue is friendship, and that is all you need to know." Gramps had a great idea. He would build a circus tent, and everybody could come and see the Diogenes jig. So up went the huge pole, as some of the town kids watched with amazement. Gramps then said, "Run to town and tell them to come see the grand jig. But you all have to dress up in costume to enjoy the show." The boy yelled, "Timber!" And the kids fled in terror, thinking the giant pole was going to crash on them. He laughed. "I'm just kidding, come on back." It was fun building a giant tent, and the kids helped out too. Of course Gramps ran the show. He was so wise. The boy wondered if he would ever be that smart, but Gramps always told him, "Anyone can be wise if you search for the truth and always keep a bit of the child in you." Everybody was so excited they couldn't sleep. The boy, the kids in the town, and even Diogenes were pacing back and forth in the cabin. The sun slowly peeked over the trees, revealing a big, beautiful sunny day as everybody put on their costumes and headed for the big party. "Look at that giant head and fruit hat," said the boy. "Wow, look at all the people." Gramps was still putting the finishing touches on the tent as the huge crowd entered inside. As the boy played his flute, Diogenes did his dance. He did a hop there, a little hokey pokey, a little sidecar, a little twirl, a shake it all about. And that's the Diogenes jig. It was so amazing as the dog twirled on his head and the crowd cheered. It was a wonderful day, and everybody fell in love with Diogenes. As they walked home, Gramps looked at the sky as the clouds rolled by. Then he saw the most amazing thing. The shape of the clouds, by golly, it's Reddy, their golden retriever. He yelled to the boy, "Son, look up! It's Reddy in the heavens!" The boy trembled as he watched the rolling clouds take on the shape of their dog that had passed on. For well over an hour they watched the show until the clouds just disappeared. Then the boy asked, "Gramps, where do my animal friends go?" "Animals are the children of nature. They are the eyes and ears of God. Up in the clouds the heavens smile. The stars sing together and Reddy shouts for joy. Reddy is an angel now, for all dogs are from God. After all, son, put the word dog in a mirror, and it will be revealed to you what a dog is. There is no greater joy than a dog, and Reddy is our guardian angel who brought Diogenes to us." "What a wonderful day we have had," said Gramps as he lifted his grandson on his back, and Diogenes did his famous jig.